me today. I'm going to move over and share my screen here. Dominica, is that coming through?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our AVTEC apprenticeship programs.
I'll post a reel with links to everything.
I apologize.
No problem. As well as some other programming that we have on campus here. I would invite anybody to stop and ask questions. I have 10 slides with some detail and some briefness. So if there's something that I go over too quickly or you want more detailed information, please unmute or raise your hand and I would happily stop and give you more information on it. So a quick intro about AVTEC. I'm sure many are familiar with AVTEC, but there may be some others on the call that are not. So AVTEC is the Alaska Vocational Technical Center. We are a division of the Department of Labor and Workforce Development through the state of Alaska. AVTEC has been in business training Alaskans for 55 years now. And we are accredited through the Council on Occupational Education. And an important part about that accreditation is it allows our students to receive funding from all of your typical post-secondary funding sources. Federal financial aid, state and local aid, grants, scholarships, even including the VA and other federal programs. So our AVTEC programs are focused on cross-industry training in the trades. I mean, we're known for several things. Some of our highlights, of our trade programs, including diesel heavy, welding, culinary, and several others that I'm going to talk about. Our aim is to prepare students at entry-level jobs in those specific trade fields. And when I mean entry level, I don't mean coming in and sweeping the floor. I'm talking about I'm ready to enter and do the work as nearly an apprentice level 1. So they're actually ready and prepared to do the work. We also have some shorter courses for upskilling and reskilling, getting people dialed back into the workplace or modernizing their workplace skills. And then we're also home to the Alaska Maritime Training Center, which we offer about 40 Coast Guard approved courses that, similar to our vocational training programs, help students either start their career or even are way deep 20 years in their career and they need to add licensing or skill sets to take other jobs in the maritime industry. So our occupational training programs, again, what we're kind of known for best, come in 2 links, a 90-day program and a 180-day program. We call them terms, but they look and feel very much like a college semester. So your 90-day programs, our fall term, start mid-August and go right up till Christmas time. And so, it's 90 days, about 4.5 months, and total workplace simulation. The students spend time in the classroom, but much time out in the lab or in the field doing the work. Their instructors, act as teachers, instructors, as well as supervisors, and they really try to simulate what the workplace would be like, especially with, workplace norms on safety, attendance, professionalism. 180-day programs work the same. Those are a 1-year program. Again, look and feel like your typical college timeline. Start in August, get done in May, and all the same stipulations with that workplace simulation. We have on-campus residence, so folks can come, move down to Seward. They don't have to find a place to live. We have dorms, apartments for students that have families that want to come with them. We have, your normal student services, including cafeteria. There's 3 meals a day, 2 on the weekends. There's a nice student service center with a gym, a basketball court, saunas even. So students get that full on-campus life that makes it really easy to transition down to Seward. Plus, for those folks that are coming from rural Alaska, Seward is relatively a small town. It's actually smaller than Bethel, in fact. So, there's no stoplights. It's easy for students to navigate. Even going to the store, we take buses to take students to Safeway, so they don't have to walk everywhere. And again, Seward's pretty small and it's all pretty walkable as well. So again, students gain excellent employability and technical skills that will get them into the industry. And we have a lot of students that kind of go cross industry. For example, our refrigeration program, you know, they're producing refrigeration techs, but the class before last, 3 of his 10 graduates went into a building automation system controls because they had some of that cross training in their refrigeration program, and they all got picked up by the same employer. So the students are really being prepared, again, specifically in their technical area, but they often get job offers in other areas that are adjacent to that. Our student completion and employment rate is over 90%, which is fantastic. So over 90% of our students complete and go into a career in less than a year. Specifically, one of the programs that I oversee is our apprenticeship programs, and we've been expanding over the past couple of years. When I came to AVTEC 3+ years ago, we had been running a related studies program, also known as RSP, and we've transitioned the name over to RTI, which just captures better what it does. For those that know apprenticeship, you know that RTI is related technical instruction. It's the school or coursework that folks do while they're participating in an apprenticeship program. Now, why AVTEC hosts that is, you know, another service we do to employers around the state. So if you're an electrical contractor out in Alaska and you have an apprentice working under you, obviously it'd be very difficult to send them into Anchorage to do night school like some of the traditional apprenticeships that have happened in the past. So students are able to log in online and do all their coursework online, and then we certify and qualify the tests that they take to complete each level of their apprenticeship, and they are taking that under a proctor. So it's all, you know, has their checks and balances, and then we're able to produce a certificate of completion and passing tests. So then when those students in occupations like electrical or plumbing need to go in and take their journeyman's exam, they have that certified that they've completed their RTI through us, and they can go in and sit for their license exam. So an expansion piece for us, building on that work that's been going on, is we've become a multi-employer sponsor. So we actually hold and sponsor apprenticeships now at AVTEC as well, not just do the support that I'm describing. Our first multi-employer sponsorship is in IT, information technology. So you see I put on my second bullet, or my first bullet point in that second paragraph section, ITMES, so an IT multi-employer sponsorship. This was registered back in December of 2021. And I'm going to specifically talk about that a little bit more on the next slide, but it's a 1-year apprenticeship for information technology. It takes people in from a starting with a very low knowledge into a very functional tier 1, tier 2 support technician. We're finalizing a multi-employer sponsorship for building maintenance. I'm going to talk about that again as a little bit deeper in another slide, but yeah, for folks that are in the facilities, residential and building maintenance trade that want to earn while they learn and gain a much higher and more technological based skill set. We're also modernizing our RTI programs by creating a managed apprenticeship services program to help folks around the state again that are running that single employer apprenticeship out in rural Alaska to help support some of their needs of running their apprenticeship program. And then finally, we are working with the National Restaurant Association on bringing on their culinary apprenticeship. They have several. We're starting with their line cook apprenticeship, and that would also be available across the state with the related technical instruction option being online. So folks could be anywhere in the state working in a line cook scenario, and they can do their apprenticeship through us, but they wouldn't have to leave their place of work or their home base to do the coursework. Again, please stop and ask questions if you guys have any along the way. So to talk a little bit specific on our IT apprenticeship, We've named it a network support technician. I'm going to give Dominica this slide set, so anyone that wants to go more into that and look at more specifics, you can click my links through this slideshow. But again, it's available statewide. The on-the-job learning is 1 year of mentorship and on-the-job training. This is competency-based. It's all based in the CompTIA competencies. CompTIA is an industry group for IT professionals. They put out several tests that qualify folks to be subject matter experts in the different areas or levels of information technology technicians. So 1 year competency based, some take a little bit longer, some take a little bit shorter. That's the beauty with a competency based apprenticeship. The related technical instruction, again, the coursework, is 6 months of live virtual training. What I mean by that is we're doing live classes on Zoom, but again, it's virtual because it's with Zoom. But again, this allows folks to take the coursework from anywhere. We've had folks from Bethel, from Dillingham. We're just starting off with some new folks from a couple other spots in the state. Again, allows people to not have to travel to the training, but they can take the training from their place of work, and they're home. The certifications that folks complete are the CompTIA A+ and Network Plus certification. Again, with these certs, you're very employable as an entry to mid-level tier 1, tier 2 support technician in IT. And again, these CompTIA certifications are recognized across the industry because these are built from this industry collaborative board. With any apprenticeship, including this one, there's wage scale increases, and they're aligned with completing these competencies. That's very motivating for an apprentice because they can see the harder I work and the quicker I work through these competencies, the more money I'm going to make, which is the kind of the age-old reason why apprenticeship works so well is the employers have a plan for developing these employees, and the employees see that with that mutual investment that they're going to be compensated, and also the employers typically a completed apprentice has a over 90% staying with the employer after they're done with their apprentice. So it's again mutually beneficial to both parties. They both see the quality return on investment, and they tend to stay employed with that employer. And these are skills that are needed by employers right now in Alaska. As we all know, there's a large gap in the workforce. IT is a big one that folks are hiring a lot of managed services out of state or at least out of region. And we all know I'd rather see someone in person at my office to help me than have to make a call to across the state or out of the state for help with IT or really any other service. So again, focus on training Alaskans for Alaska jobs in their own region. Any questions on the IT apprenticeship before I move on?
No questions in the chat box as of now.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So next apprenticeship that's currently getting through the final phases of being registered is our residential and building maintenance apprenticeship. This is a 3-year apprenticeship focused on preventative maintenance and repair. Alaska's buildings are aging right now. We're finding that even here at AVTEC, it takes a lot to repair and maintain these buildings, and we need qualified, highly trained technicians to do this stuff. The older buildings are much harder to take care of than the newer buildings in a lot of ways. Our employer partners, the possibilities are really endless. We're working with some school systems, hospitals, housing authorities, hotels, lodges, anybody that maintains facilities level buildings, or even apartment complexes, lodges with multiple small or tiny house cabins on there. A lot of the work is very similar, and the way this apprenticeship will work is, again, it's a 3-year apprenticeship. The related technical instruction, the first 2 years will cover all those base level skills that all facilities maintenance folks do. You know, basic carpentry repair, you know, think repairing stairs and decks, building envelope, which would be like your windows and your doors and your weatherization. And then service level electrical, service level plumbing, service level heating, learning how to service and do basic maintenance and repair, PMs as they like to call it, preventative maintenance, to all that mechanical equipment that keeps the building running and keeping everybody safe. Year 3 will allow for a focus year. So unlike most apprenticeships where everybody's going to do the same thing, doesn't matter where I'm at, what region I work in, we've developed this, again, try to really be accessible and meaningful to folks around the state. So year 3, they can choose an area to focus in. I put an example on here is water treatment. So if you're from rural Alaska, where I used to live, a lot of our school maintenance workers, one of their key jobs is water and wastewater treatment. That takes some training, that takes some coursework, and that takes some licensing, and they have to pass exams to get those licenses. So again, if that's a key piece of your facilities maintenance needs, let's have a focus year where you can focus and do apprenticeship time focused around that. Now, maybe you're somewhere in urban Alaska where you work, maybe you're a maintenance worker at, we'll say, Safeway, right? Where they have a lot of refrigeration needs. That maintenance worker could focus in a refrigeration for their final year and get some refrigeration, EPA certifications, as well as specified RTI, related technical instruction, the coursework, and OJT. We have developed this, again, we're trying to be very focused that this can work for folks all around the state. So we're using for our base curriculum, NCCR, which is a widely utilized curriculum in the construction trades around the state. This can be delivered in several ways, you know, in person, there's online options. Also, again, because it's used heavily around the state, all the training doesn't have to happen through AVTEC. If I get in with a large enough regional partner, we'll say in Northwest Arctic, for example, and they want to use ATC. ATC could utilize their NCCR certified trainers, and they could train out of their training facility, so that folks wouldn't even have to travel all the way across the state. So that's the approach with that. We're currently seeking more employer partners. I think I have 4 right now, but we're planning on running this apprenticeship as a continued enrollment. So folks can enroll whenever, and then I can enroll their employees in the next round of related technical instruction. So we're going to be consistently seeking employer partners as we run this, and really the more the merrier, because we want to, you know, the work we put into developing this, we want this, we want people to utilize this and see some quality results out of it. And then finally, both of these apprenticeships are initially supported by the SAEI grant, which is a state apprenticeship expansion grant. Dominique, has there a question?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you, Colin. I am curious about the criteria that employers have to meet to become an employer partner.
Well, they would just need to have we'll use the facilities maintenance, for example, a facilities maintenance position, someone that could be a mentor, and then someone that they could, or a position that they could deem that apprentice, whether it is someone that is currently working for them that they want to upskill, or a position they want to open and hire someone into with the plan of putting them down that apprenticeship pathway.
Mm-hmm. But if an employer does not have the position currently, they can still develop it, yes, for the
Absolutely.
mentorship.
Yep.
So it's all possible to do. And so you mentioned schools, hospitals, and other entities. Do you have on your list Alaska Native organizations as well as possible employer partners?
Yeah, so that when I list housing authorities, I'm kind of thinking that direction. Those are just possible, you know, just a few, but we're open to anybody that does facilities maintenance.
And you look for these employer partners, or do they come to you? Is there any?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Yeah, I mean, we take opportunities like this to spread the word. One of the, you know, we don't have a huge marketing or advertising budget, so word of mouth, getting opportunities to do presentations and talk about programs that we have going on like this. That's how we spread the word. And then, you know, anybody we know, we give calls to or emails on, here's an opportunity, does this align with any of your needs?
Is if there's any flyer about this, I can certainly distribute among all the individuals who have registered for the ACC training but are not on the call today. So please, whatever you have, I can certainly distribute and spread the word like that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
So a couple of other things that are also a little bit lesser known than our, you know, our main on-campus programs that we were discussing earlier. We also have custom training and specialty programs. We can bring training to communities, or we can bring groups of folks either through an employer or through, you know, a regional look to AVTEC. We are able to develop training specific for folks' needs. We call them custom or contract training. I had a employer reach out to me a few months ago asking about training some refrigeration tech stuff, specifically how to recover refrigerants from refrigerators, freezers, anything that has a refrigerant in it that goes to their community dump so they can safely dispose of that. We can spin up a training that addresses that need because we have a refrigeration training program. We've sent folks to villages to do kind of intro to construction, labor training. They've built sheds, they've done different maintenance repair programs. You know, if you reach out to me and it's a topic that we already teach in one of our larger programs or even adjacent or similar to it, we could probably develop a short training that would hit the needs of you know, whether it's a project that's coming up and you need folks trained, or you've got a, you know, a gap in talent in your current employees and you want to bring them up to speed on something. That's a service that AVTEC has been doing, and like I said, it's not totally widely known. So please reach out to me if there's something you would like to talk about training specific. We also again do that in vessel maintenance and repair. So outside of like the construction and the main like hard technologies, and then also we have a series of classes in business and office technology. Again, reach out to me if you're interested in any of those things, and I can connect you with either myself or another subject matter expert that can specify that training for you. A lot of these are available in person, but there is also some online and some hybrid delivery options.
And we do have it
for me. If you guys have questions, I'm gonna share this to Dominica, and
Thank you.
AVTEC, link to our IT apprenticeship specific information, and again, just reach out to me. Happy to have a conversation about ideas, needs. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Colin. We do have a well comment. Mercedes commented about that's awesome. We have to have an annual appliance pickup, and a contractor comes out to do the things that we don't know how to do to get everything ready to go. So thanks for that comment. Regina asking for regional custom trainings, do you require that a shop be already available in the community?
Like a place, Regina, are we talking about a place to train, I would imagine?
Yes.
Yeah. We can get creative. You know, if it was the right time of year and we were gonna do, let's just use, you know, we're gonna do a basic construction training, so we're gonna go build a shed. As long as it's not, you know, a terrible time of year to do it, blowing snow and -20, we could definitely go out and work and build outside. Obviously, it'd be a nice place to have some sort of a classroom meeting area for the classroom portion, and just to keep tools dry and those kind of things. But yeah, they don't need a full-on you know, construction shop to be able to pull off a training.
So Colin, do you have access to the chat box?
Yeah, I'm reading.
Okay, great, great. Thank you.
Right now. What trends? Excellent question. I'm going to just read this out loud so the group can see.
Thank you.
Says, I have noticed recently that there is less stigma toward apprenticeship and vocational training in lieu of college within the past 20 years. My classmates and I had much pressure to pursue college-based traditional education post-high school, but we have noticed, especially post-pandemic, that apprenticeships and vocational technical training are more common among young adults today. What trends in AVTEC enrollment have you seen within the last 4 years? Excellent question and comment. Ricky must be about my age. Same for me. That was, very few of us were directed to go into anything but college. I would say the trend is definitely what you're alluding to. People are seeing the writing on the walls that your return on investment is as good and sometimes better and obviously much faster with a vocational training route, whether it's AVTEC or jumping right into an apprenticeship. We are certainly seeing our student age group lowering. I've been with AVTEC for just over 3 years. But the historians here will tell you that our average age was about 27 for students. And, a lot of them were, maybe they went to college and it didn't work out, or they went in the military for a while and then they'd gotten out and they're using their GI Bill, or they pursued some other trade and they kind of got to a dead end and they needed to upskill to kind of restart their career or jump into a new career. Now our average age has dropped dramatically. It's in the low 20s. And it's students that are right out or nearly right out of high school that are making that decision right away. Again, I now know several students in the past couple of years working here, and even many of our employees or our past students that by age 20 we're making more than a master's level teacher, and with 1 year of time, effort, and money versus 6 for a master's degree in education, for example. So yeah, it's definitely trending to a lower age. And Kim, my colleague, just said it went from 27 to 21. Average age at AVTEC. Anything else?
Thank you. I do have a one last question, if you don't mind, Colin. You mentioned the grant expansion, apprenticeship expansion grant. Any of that funding available to apprentices?
Yes, so indirectly. So basically there's no cost to participate in these apprenticeships right now. So typically in an apprenticeship, you have to charge for your time with the related technical instruction, as well as the sponsorship and the management of the apprenticeship. All of that is covered. We've even been able to cover with this grant travel to and from AVTEC to participate in the related technical instruction portion on campus, as well as housing and feeding folks while they're here. So right now it's a no cost to any of the folks participating, whether you're the employer or the apprentice. And then outside of my grant, there is often many opportunities for folks involved in an apprenticeship to work with the Department of Labor job centers for if they need assistance with other things, work clothes, sometimes even childcare. I don't want to speak too much for their piece, but there's other more specific need assistance through the job centers as well.
We'll hear more about it next week. And Naomi has a question.
So AVTEC does have, we don't utilize the WIOA grant for our these apprenticeships because again, I'm able to cover it with the with my other grant. But there is students in our traditional AVTEC programs that do utilize the WheeLer grant.
Excellent. Thank you, Colin, so much for being with us today. For all these exciting updates. Please make sure to connect with Colin, and any materials, outreach materials, I will make sure to share with you. And of course, this recording will be available on ACPE's YouTube channel. Thank you, Colin, as always, for your presence today. Thank you.
Yep, and I'm gonna put my contact info in the chat box here.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.